So David engages in psychological warfare as a first response. David's goal here was not only to counter Goliath's threat to take his life. David counters in the way he does because he has to find a way to encourage himself. If you're going to one-up the Goliaths in your life, you have to one-up with words. You've got to encourage yourself. You come to me with sword and spear and javelin, but I have come to you in the name of the Lord. And he will deliver you into my hand. You can't fight Goliath with words alone. You must one-up Goliath with your witness. David says to King Saul, I used to keep sheep for my father, and whenever a lion or a bear came and took a lamb from the flock, I went after it and struck it down, rescuing the lamb from its mouth, and it turned against me. I would catch it if it did, and I would grab it by the jaw and strike it down and kill it. I've killed both lions and bears. And this uncircumcised Philistine will be just like them. On June 12th of 1964, the eyes of the world were on the Rivonia trial in South Africa. Nelson Mandela and at least 6 other ANC leaders were to be sentenced to death, having been accused of and convicted for high treason. There's the crime of conspiring to overthrow South Africa's apartheid system, an oppressive system. And in their pursuit of democracy, they conspired to overthrow this system. In his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, Mandela recounts the fateful day when Judge DeWitt was to pronounce the death sentence. He writes, I was prepared for the death sentence. To truly be prepared for something, one must actually expect it. One cannot be prepared for something while secretly believing it will not happen. We were all prepared, he goes on. And it was not because we were brave, but it was because we were realistic. Realistic is not the same as being without hope. To be realistic is to be sensible and non-delusional about what can be achieved or expected. Mandela's group was not interested in any discussions about the appeals process. They wanted to understand the mechanics of the sentencing procedure, if indeed they were going to be sentenced to death. They were told after DeWitt's pronouncement of the death sentence that he, the first accused, would be asked to come forward, and the judge would say, have you any reason to advance why the sentence should not be passed? Mandela said that he would say, ruminating over Shakespeare's "Be absolute for death, for either death or life will be the sweeter." Mandela told his lawyers, I would tell the judge that I was prepared to die securely in the knowledge that my death would be an inspiration to the cause for which I was giving my life. My death, our deaths, would not be in vain if anything, we might serve the greater cause in death as martyrs as we ever could in life. And when life in prison was a sentence given to him, the people began rejoicing. He had to go to Robben Island for life. And the people began rejoicing because life meant an opportunity to still live. Life to live. Amandla, unga wetu. The power is ours. They shouted in the streets, Amandla, Ungawetu, the power is ours. They were afflicted by a realistic hope. To contend with your Goliaths, your words must be congruent with your witness. David clearly understood that truly, if he were to be prepared, he had to expect God to deliver him. Deliverance won't just happen for you if you don't expect it. He was prepared to fight, not because he was brave, but because he was realistic. God had delivered me from lions and bears. Why not now? If I didn't die after a lion or a bear came after me, why wouldn't I trust God? Why would I have a question as to whether God could save me? If you're going to one-up Goliath, you'll need words to encourage yourself. You'll need a witness to keep you confident in the battle. But you will also need a willingness. One of the brothers, as I walked in this morning, said, Are you ready, Doc? Are you ready? I hope you will pull it today. Are you ready? Well, I never know if I'm ready. I never know if I'm ready, but I'm willing. For I know if I am willing, the Lord will make me able. David one-ups Goliath with his words, one-ups him with his witness, and one-ups him in his willingness. And that's what it means to have the head and the heart of a shepherd. It is to be driven and afflicted by hope. Johns Hopkins leading pediatric neurosurgeon Ben Carson spoke at Howard's opening convocation about a year ago. And as he rounded out his message to the entering and returning students and faculty, he said to us, if you got a good brain and a trusting heart and a living God in your life, you'll be able to rise to any challenge. Philistines are coming. They're coming after you. Goliath has more than choice words for you. You've got to have a good brain. You've got to have a trusting heart. You've got to have a living God on your side. But there is something else. To fight that which is in front of you means that you will sometimes have to leave something behind. David left his father's home. He left his sheep with the keeper. He left the provision of bread and cheese with the baggage handler. Left behind 4 other brothers and the others on the battlefield. He left Saul's bronze helmet, coat of mail, and sword. Left one side of the mountain to overcome a giant in the other. He left everything behind except his head and his heart. Everything except his knowledge of and belief in a God who propels us into moments where the only thing that will get us through is our faith. And if we think this story is about a young man overcoming the strong, or that David is somehow superhuman, some slingshot happy shepherd boy with stones to hurl, we miss the whole point. This is not just a message about sticks and stones and facing a future with faith. This is not about just sticks and stones and facing a future with faith in a living God. This is not just about sticks and stones and facing a future with faith with a living God. This is about sticks and stones and facing a future with faith in a living God who will fight our battles. Brothers, you are thinking, this is not my motif. I'm not a shepherd in an agrarian culture. I'm a Christian in a narcissistic and a materialistic, militaristic, hyper-capitalist, violent society where arrogance, greed, and political malfeasance have brought this nation to an economic collapse.